being a guy that has to live in as many informational-based worlds as I have to, learning and application, arguably one of the foundational parts. So a lot of people ask me about nootropics, what to take, how often, should I even do it, what's the effects, all that kind of stuff. And let's look a little bit at what they are. So 1972, a Romanian chemist called, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, I don't speak Romanian and I have no wish to butcher it, works on something called pyritism. And the notion around pyritism is that it is something that has been developed for cognitive enhancement, memory development, and all of the kind of related affairs from there. Nootropics is born of the Greek nous, meaning mind, and tropein, meaning to bend. And the development of the nootropics is about enhancing the capacity of your brain and reducing toxicity as part of the process. But it didn't start there. The notion of nootropics goes back to China and ancient China and traditional Chinese medicine. When you look at the herbal remedies of ginseng or rhodiola rosea or Bacopa munieri, I think I'm trying to pronounce these words. I've never been taught how to pronounce, so forgive me if I get them wrong. But these materials have been part of the health-conscious lifestyle for many years. And when they seep more and more into public consciousness, students, biohackers, professors, professionals at large eat them up so they can develop their brains to such a degree that it would allow them to do whatever they do with ease. And so nootropics becomes something that everyone is fascinated with. And it really blew up, as far as my meager understanding of it goes, in the late 20th, early 21st century. Nootropics mainly focusing on, as part of their production and research, for memory development, learning, retention, focus, creativity, decision-making, cognitive decline, and the general boosting of the brain in general through attempts to lower oxidative stress and diminish all of the other factors that contribute towards the decline of higher order functioning. So, 21st century, students, professionals, athletes, gamers, those aging, those experiencing cognitive decline for whatever reason, and even in some mental health circles, begin to be recommended this stuff. And in my experience, again, this is only in my humble yet easily swayed by food opinion, it becomes a largely misunderstood term, a largely misunderstood thing, in that there appears to be a reliance at large on whatever the nootropic it is that you're using to just do all of the work for you. I think we can probably lay some of the blame at the feet of Limitless. Boom, take this pill, NZT, and on you go. Your brain is awesome. You remember everything, you do it all. It is a supplement. It's supposed to supplement things that you're already doing, right? That's part of the process. So my experience with them has been out of morbid curiosity. And if I ever have a lot of things to learn or do in any one moment, like as part of my hobbies, I'm teaching myself 7 languages because I have a use for each of them. I'm teaching myself 3 instruments. I already play a few anyway. And part of my work requires, degrees and courses and research and books and learning. So one would think that nootropics could really help. But that's the first misstep. Are you relying on them to do the job for you?
Nootropics. They work through various mechanisms. Neurotransmitter modulation. Things like acetylcholine, dopamine, serotonin, GABA. I'm not going to try and say the full name of it. They play a functional role in memory and focus and mood. Racetams or racetams, I think. They enhance acetylcholine function, improving memory and learning. Then there's also neurogenesis and synaptic plasticity. Some compounds promote brain-derived neurotrophic factor and nerve growth factor, which encourage brain cell growth and repair. Lion's mane, I think. I will need fact-checking on that one, but let's continue. Lion's mane stimulates nerve growth factor, potentially aiding memory and brain repair. Then you've got to look at blood flow and oxygen utilization. Increased cerebral blood flow improves oxygen and nutrient delivery to the brain. So if you look at ginkgo biloba, side note, I'm having those leaves tattooed on my back at the minute. You don't care, but the tattoo is going to be awesome. They enhance blood circulation, potentially improving focus. Then there's the concepts behind stress and fatigue reduction, adaptogens reducing the impact of cortisol and enhancing resilience in this situation to mental fatigue. Rhodiola rosea, mitochondrial and energy support. Not all nootropics, but some nootropics enhance ATP. Adenosine triphosphate. The production there leading to better brain endurance. And then coenzyme Q10 supports mitochondrial energy production there as well. You know, nootropics, they are the assisted supplemental gift that keeps on giving, it seems. But you know, people have their own opinions about them. Some people don't like drinking caffeinated beverages. Some people don't like pizza. You do you, right? You do you. At the end of the day, I'm only here doing this because people ask me. That's it. If you were going to look at nootropics, there are 4 main types that you want to consider: synthetic, natural, pharmaceutical, and nutraceuticals. I think they're called just vitamins. Synthetic ones are man-made compounds, pyratisem, modafinil, just the things that directly enhance cognitive function. The natural nootropics, the herbal and nutritional substances, ginseng, ashwagandha, omega-3s, caffeine. Pharmaceutical nootropics, modafinil's a prescription med as well, but you could look at ADHD meds like Adderall, and then the nutraceuticals. You're just looking at B vitamins, magnesium, choline. All these elements support the nature of cognitive function. But when you specifically go through the synthetic and or the pharmaceutical kind, be careful. Please be careful. Go through the proper medical practices and the proper prescriptive analyses. Don't just start shoveling loads of shit into your body for the sake of it making you smarter or remember more. Do your due diligence, and essentially what the 21st century doesn't really seem to want you to do, which is just think about things a little bit more. That's selling out.
So I get asked, what should I use? Should I use modafinil, shilajit, lion's mane, sea moss, prime, rubicon, monster? Personally, it's up to you. It's up to you. Whatever you use, your life, your money, your health, you do with it whatever you want. Another one of the things in the health world that I don't live in, I only take in as a consumer, is that unsolicited advice, it's everywhere. So, in a bid to both indulge my curiosity and, try and review something for the people who work in my world and similar facets, I bring you this, Neutonic. Well, I don't bring you Neutonic. These guys do. I chose to review this one first, mostly because I appreciate anyone that sticks it to the overglorified hype machine that is Prime. I think all elements of that entity remind me of a nightclub floor, just sticky and unpleasant to be around. So, Neutonic, full of cognizin, full of L-theanine, full of rhodiola rosea, full of caffeine, full of Pantax ginseng, and a bunch of B vitamins and B benefits in general.
Ingredients for your consideration, right? And this is just what I could find. So if you are a professional, or somebody who works in a medical background, you have, or rather should have, access to more information than members of the ignorant public like me. So this is just the things that I could find on the elements that are in Neutonic, right? And again, I say this not as the kind of sellout jokes. Fucking delicious, right? It's a really nice tasting drink, all of them, right? So cognizin, easy to pronounce once. I have the note of what it's apparently also known as, but I've never heard it said out loud, so I'm going to take a wild stab on its pronunciation. Citicoline, right? It's a precursor to this one. I ain't gonna try it. It's a key component of cell membranes. It boosts acetylcholine levels. It's a neurotransmitter that's essential for learning and memory. It enhances dopamine receptor density, improving focus, motivation, the support of mitochondrial function, which increases brain energy and metabolism. But here's the other side, the potential side effects, right? While it can be well tolerated by the individual, some experience headaches, insomnia, gastrointestinal issues, right? I'm not concerned about the first two because I am a diagnosed insomniac, right? So I'm not concerned about that. I'm potentially not helping the cause, but I'm not concerned. Your benefits might not be noticeable unless you've got a choline deficiency, right? More research needed from me and from others in the field, as I understand it. But its effectiveness in testing before and after use, the testing shows an improvement in verbal recall, right? There were fMRI scans done to the changes in brain activity during learning and memory, but the whole nature of fMRI scans have its own problems anyway, so I ain't really gonna look at that one. Reaction time testing was an increase in cognitive speed. Then we can look at the rhodiola rosea. This should be like a fucking tongue twister, right? It's an adaptogen that reduces the stress-induced fatigue, attempting to regulate your cortisol levels, basically. Increased serotonin, increased dopamine, improves overall performance mentally. And it too is a contributor to mitochondrial function, right? The downsides, much like anything, is dependent upon dosage and the quality of the extract. Not all supplements are created equal. I have no idea about the specifics. I would presume that the guys in charge have done their work, but nothing more than that. The long-term extended use of rhodiola rosea, it might lead to diminished effects because the body adapts. It can cause jitters, irritability in sensitive individuals. But, if you look at cognitive fatigue assessments, cortisol tests, reduction, mood and well-being scales, the changes in stress perception and emotional balance are there. Then we can look at L-theanine, right? It's the enhancing of alpha brainwave activity, right? Those of you that have trained in neurofeedback stuff with me will know I love a brainwave state function and its physical benefits. It's neurofeedback. And biological understanding of what the brain does during certain situations. But the promotion here is a calm yet focused state. It's designed to increase GABA, serotonin, dopamine, improving relaxation without sedation. Right, so it's not just I'm going to go and have a lie down. It's that clarity, that peace. It's a synergist with caffeine. The effects are subtle. It's not really a stimulant. So benefits depend on the individual. It works best in combination with caffeine, which is why I imagine it's in it in the first place. But solo supplementation, less effective. I should learn to measure my own drinking. Electroencephalogram scans, you can measure the changes in alpha wave activity before and after the introduction of the L-theanine. Focus-based tasks, you have a comparison of sustained attention with and without L-theanine, and the heart rate variability monitoring, the stress reduction elements all show significant improvements. Caffeine, we should all know about that. Caffeine, so I'm not even going to look at it. Then there's the I'm using the can as my notes, by the way, because it says it all here. Panax ginseng, ginsenosides was a name I only stumbled across when researching the stuff that goes into this. But apparently they are the things that are within Panax ginseng and make it work. They boost choline, dopamine. I don't need to keep saying the same buzzwords. The improve of cognitive function. We're talking about nootropics. It's kind of par for the course. It has anti-fatigue and neuroprotective effects for that kind of clarity and the reduction in toxicity effects there. We're going to improve glucose metabolism, providing steady brain energy, not just crash. It's going to maintain a heightened level for you. The pitfalls, the downfalls, the side effects, whatever you want to call them, much like anything, effects vary wildly. Depends on the quality of it, how much you're taking, individual responses, metabolic rate, all of this other stuff. Long-term use, like anything, may lead to tolerance, which requires cycling for effectiveness. It can cause insomnia, digestive issues again, and please don't take it while you're on other meds. Let's just say that, right? There are risks, but it's risk, it's not certainty one way or the other. But if you're being given meds to combat any particular illness, why would you want to do that as well? Its testing that I could find was in working memory tests, blood glucose monitoring, and stress and fatigue scales again, all showing marked increase in improvement. I got the orange cans, the lime cans, citrus cans, sorry, and the recently added packets. Both of the packets. I didn't get the pills because I take enough pills and I don't make enough money to do this. This review cost me a lot of money and I have no sponsorship, no connection, no reason to be offering this review out other than for the people that are curious as to my opinion on nootropics in general. That's it. Then that might be like 12 or 13 of you. Maybe less, but here we are. And I didn't get the, I think it's called Tropical Ice or something like that, the silver can, because when I looked on the Neutonic site, there wasn't any available. When I looked on Amazon, they were asking 80 quid. No. And when I tried to make an order from the TikTok shop, it still hasn't shown up. I mean, I got refunded anyway, but it took about 4 months and nothing. So, winner. So here we are with this stuff I'm looking at anyway. And it should be stated that the stats of the review will be a little off because I'm already a pretty productive person. Not as some kind of sly flex, but I'm not starting nootropics from nothing. Does that make sense? So anybody that feels that they already need help with productivity and focus and retention and memory, I've worked, lived, ate and breathed memory training for, Christ, 2 decades. So the patterns are already built in. So the first thing that I did was, I thought, well, what are the other contributing factors to looking at whether these nootropics worked or had some kind of an effect? Bear in mind, I am a big fat not a scientist, so I have no idea about creating laboratory conditions. This is just the thing that made some kind of sense for starting. I looked at the other areas that things like this come in. We could argue back and forth all day as to the effectiveness of nootropics. The research varies. And again, I want to preface, not a professional, no qualifications in nootropics whatsoever. Just read about them. That's all. I am an obsessive reader, but that's all it is. All right? Just putting that out there. Some compounds like caffeine, omega-3s, B vitamins have well-established cognitive benefits, but others like the racetams and the herbal adaptogens mixed or emerging in their evidence. Right, synthetic nootropics like modafinil are highly effective, but come with potential side effects because they are narcolepsy drugs, essentially. And if you don't have narcolepsy, putting something into your body that is designed to treat it, over time possibly ain't going to go well. All right. So that's really the line in the sand in terms of the research. Opinions vary, as do most things in the supplemental area. It depends on how you use it. You know, it is. If you are entering into the use of this or the drinking of these types of things, thinking that because you drink this, it is going to make you smarter, it is going to make you remember more, etc., etc. It ain't. One of the first things I'll say about Neutonic, delicious. All 4 of the versions, chef's kiss, or compliments to the chef, whatever the sentence is. One of the things I found with energy drinks or, things in that area, first of all, productivity drink, genius. But one of the things I found with it, there was like this bitter, sugary backwash aftertaste. I didn't get that with Neutonic, with any of the versions, whether it be the can or the packets that you add to water. So score 1 there. One of the things I did get from it was a kind of a calm
clarity. You know, sometimes when you have a caffeinated beverage, you feel a bit buzzed, a bit twitchy. I didn't get that, you know. I'm inclined to work anyway, but, you know, I have my timers set to make sure I have regular breaks, because being the way I am, I have a tendency to focus for too long and miss meals, and I was working for longer with it not bothering me. Could have been a bunch of other things going on, but that was one of the effects I noticed. So that was pretty cool. My learning and retention pretty much stayed the same, but again, it's not fair in the sense that like I have a routine that involves me learning close to 1,000 words a day over the languages, just one concept, you know? So the scales are off there. I don't think we can either put that on Neutonic or take it from it, but there was a maintenance to it. It didn't hurt the learning capability, it maintained. But that could have just been behavioral, habitual, all the same anyway. Creativity, yeah. I'm a pretty creative person anyway. You have to be with some of the critical thinking endeavors and problems I get into as part of my work. But again, didn't hurt it. The scheduling of some of the things that I had to complete were highly creative, like required creativity. So it could have just been a scheduling thing that meant I had to complete a lot of creative tasks back to back over the course of a few months. Could have been down to the benefits of Neutonic. I want to be honest, like, again, not affiliated with these guys, and maybe like this video will get 100 or so views. So I'm not about to try to push you anything, but these are some of the effects that I experienced over my time of trying it. I tried it in the morning, tried it at night, tried it middle of the day, with food, without food. All of the effects seem to maintain themselves. So I think that if you want a maybe fairer, more detailed understanding of what it does, then you need somebody who is admittedly struggling, and I wasn't, you know, I aren't.
But if you want to just look and focus on effectiveness, EEG and fMRI scans show brain activity changes, right? I've got my own problems with fMRI scans, but that's secondary. Blood tests reveal that there are the biochemical effects there, and the reaction time, memory testing, the cognitive performance element, the metrics that go into that all show improvement. If you want to look into the subjective results that take stock of your own individual makeup and how you're using it, how much you're using all of these different elements, you can follow that through journaling. You can follow that through an app. You can follow that through these kind of tracking wearable devices that exist. But never let it not be said that never let it be said that it is not without its idiosyncrasies, in the same way that anything is. You know, a doctor who prescribes medicine for something is rarely just a one-size-fits-all approach. That's why they ask you questions. That's why there's some kind of consultation that goes with the practices. My services are blowing up at the minute. So in relation to this, whereas I might not be a good replication of this, because again, of all the other reasons I've already stated, my wife who's only just found out about her ADHD and all of these other areas, doesn't drink caffeine, you know, herbal teas. I realise in saying that, I'm just stating that no herbal remedies for cognitive development. The herbal properties are just to keep the synthetic elements out of her body. That's just how she's lived. It's a preference. She has started with these ones, right? I mean, I drink them too for the sake of providing you my thoughts and insights, but she's drank those herself. She has shown, in her own admission, a clarity of her moods, an increase in focus. Her grades are going up because she's gone back to university. I mean, she was already a pretty smart cookie anyway, but these are getting better. And more importantly, even though she's been married to me for years, she's always felt like she's not had a very good memory. And whereas we've sat down and done it before, she's now developing learning practices around it on her own. Yes, it could be the whole 2025, new year, new me, and she's sticking to the routine, sure. But this was part of it as well. So it can't go without acknowledgement that these are helping her, right? These are helping her. Nootropics don't help everyone, they help the individual that use them properly. That is the main point. So for me, a cheers to you, Neutonic. This is delicious. I imagine the tropical ice one might be just as nice, but I haven't tried it. So, and I'm not paying 80 quid on Amazon, because look at me, I'm not made of money. With that in mind, folks, if you got anything out of this at all, please continue along the 21st century lines of liking, commenting, subscribing. If it is that you want me to review any more of these and provide you some insight on the background of it, I'm happy to. If there is anyone out there that wants to send them to me so I can review it, I'm happy to do that too. But yeah, I genuinely, I can't think of enough nice things to say about Neutonic. It's delicious. There's some good stuff in it. Is it expensive? Sure, but there's a lot of good stuff in it. So if you want that, if you want all of that good stuff, you got to pay for it. It's really that simple, right? Cheers to you guys. See you soon.